Let's be honest, when it comes to parenting, the pressure to be perfect can feel overwhelming. Did you know that 70% of parents believe they're not doing a good job? It's a shocking statistic, but it's no surprise. With endless advice on social media and from friends, many parents feel they are always falling short. But here's the kicker: perfection in parenting doesn't exist. According to a study from the American Psychological Association, trying to be the perfect parent can actually lead to more stress, anxiety, and even burnout. The truth is, striving for perfection can hurt both you and your child. So, why does this matter? Because when you chase after an impossible ideal, you miss out on the real joys of being a parent. You might even miss those special moments that really matter. In this video, we'll explore why you should let go of perfection and embrace the messiness of parenthood. We'll dive into the myths of perfect parenting, celebrate the power of being good enough, and discuss why your child needs you, flaws and all. If you're ready to discover a healthier approach to parenting, stick around. Your journey to becoming a more relaxed and connected parent starts now. Chapter 1. The myth of the perfect parent. We all know the image of the perfect parent. They're patient, calm, and always have the right answer. But here's the thing: that parent doesn't exist. A study published in Psychology Today found that 70% of parents admit to feeling like they're not doing enough. This is mostly because they're comparing themselves to an unrealistic ideal that simply can't be achieved. Social media doesn't help either. We see polished snapshots of family life, but those perfect moments are just that, moments. What we don't see are the tantrums, the messes, or the exhaustion. Research shows that parents who regularly compare themselves to others on social media report higher levels of stress. It's time to step away from that pressure and understand that mistakes are normal. Children don't need a flawless parent, they need a real one. Brené Brown, in her book Daring Greatly, says, "Perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame." This quote perfectly captures the unrealistic standard we set for ourselves. It's not helping anyone, least of all your kids. Instead of aiming for perfection, try focusing on connection. Studies have shown that emotional connection is far more important for a child's development than perfection in parenting. Children raised in homes where parents practice empathy and open communication tend to have better emotional resilience and higher self-esteem. Chapter 2. Embrace your flaws. They are your superpower. Let's get real, every parent messes up. But here's the twist: your mistakes can actually help your kids in the long run. In fact, there's a psychological theory called the good enough parent, developed by Donald Winnicott, a pediatrician and psychoanalyst. He argued that children benefit from parents who make mistakes because it teaches them that life isn't perfect and helps them develop coping skills. Think about it. If you were perfect, how would your child learn to deal with failure? How would they develop problem-solving skills if you always solved everything for them? Making mistakes and then working through them shows your children that they can handle challenges. In a study published by the Journal of Family Psychology, researchers found that children whose parents acknowledged their own mistakes and worked to correct them demonstrated better conflict resolution skills. So, when you drop the ball, whether it's yelling when you didn't mean to or forgetting something important, don't beat yourself up. Instead, model how to apologize and make amends. Mistakes also create opportunities for growth. Every time you fail, you get the chance to become more patient, more creative, or more empathetic. It's not about being flawless, it's about growing and learning alongside your kids. And here's a fun fact. According to a report from the American Psychological Association, children raised by parents who allow themselves to make mistakes and model how to recover from them are more likely to exhibit higher levels of emotional intelligence as adults. So, stop aiming for perfect and start aiming for progress. Chapter 3. Comparison is a trap. Ditching the parenting competition. One of the biggest traps we fall into as parents is comparing ourselves to others. We see the mom at the park who has packed the perfect organic snack, and we start to question ourselves. Or we hear about a child who's reading before kindergarten, and we wonder if we're doing enough. But here's the truth: comparison is toxic. A study by the Pew Research Center found that 1/3 of parents feel pressured to be involved in every aspect of their children's lives, largely because they're comparing themselves to other parents. This constant competition creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. It's important to remember that every child is different, and so is every family. What works for someone else may not work for you, and that's okay. Focus on your own strengths as a parent. No one knows your child better than you do, and no one else's parenting style should dictate your worth as a parent. Experts also suggest focusing on what you can control, rather than what others are doing. Dr. Shefali Sabari, in her book The Conscious Parent, advises, parenting is not about perfection. It's about connection. Her point? You don't need to win some imaginary parenting competition. What matters is the bond you have with your child. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself from an unnecessary burden. You can start focusing on what's truly important, creating a supportive, loving environment for your child. Remember, no one's keeping score but you. If you're finding this helpful, consider subscribing to our channel for more tips and insights on navigating the wonderful world of parenting. Chapter 4. The Power of Good Enough Parenting. Aiming to be good enough might sound like settling, but it's actually a healthier and more realistic approach. The concept of good enough parenting came from British psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott, who argued that kids benefit when their parents aren't perfect, but good enough. This doesn't mean neglecting your child, it means being emotionally available, consistent, and responsive to their needs, without the pressure of perfection. Think about it. Kids learn a lot by watching how their parents handle everyday challenges. If you're stressed about every little detail, they pick up on that anxiety. But if you're calm and flexible, they'll learn to handle situations with ease. According to a study published in the Journal of Child Development, children of parents who adopt a good enough mindset are more likely to develop resilience, adaptability, and emotional regulation. When you allow yourself to be good enough, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure, and that leaves you with more energy to actually enjoy time with your child. A University of California study even found that parents who adopt a more relaxed approach report higher levels of happiness and have stronger bonds with their children. So, drop the pressure of being flawless, and just focus on showing up for your kids, imperfections and all. What does good enough look like? It's letting your kids experience disappointment instead of always rescuing them. It's accepting that some days you'll serve a nutritious meal, and other days, it's frozen pizza, and both are okay. The key here is balance. Being good enough means knowing when to let things slide and when to step in, with the confidence that your love and presence are enough. Chapter 5. Your child doesn't need perfection. They need you. What your child truly craves isn't the perfect home, the best school, or endless activities. What they need is you, your attention, your love, and your presence. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. But studies consistently show that children who feel emotionally connected to their parents tend to perform better academically, socially, and emotionally. In fact, a report from Harvard University's Center on the Developing Child found that the single most important factor in a child's development is a strong, supportive relationship with at least one parent or caregiver. That means your child doesn't need you to have all the answers or to always get it right, they just need you to be there. One of the biggest gifts you can give your child is your time and attention. You don't need to spend hours every day planning the perfect activities. Sometimes, the simple moments, like reading a book together or just talking, are the most valuable. Research shows that even 15 minutes of focused, undistracted time can have a lasting positive impact on a child's emotional well-being. Here's a unique fact: children as young as toddlers start to notice when their parents are distracted by phones and devices. A study published in the journal Pediatrics found that kids exhibit more attention-seeking behavior when parents are focused on their phones. So, one easy strategy is to put the phone down and be fully present. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes, not just in your child, but in how you feel as a parent. Remember, you don't have to plan perfect days to make memories with your child. In fact, it's often the spontaneous, messy moments that create the strongest bonds. Let your child know you're there, really there, and that's what they'll carry with them as they grow. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to our channel for more insights on navigating the ups and downs of parenting. Together, we can create a supportive community for parents everywhere.